Oh, jeez.
Beautiful shirt.
It's lovely.
Hello? Hello?
We're here, we're just muted.
Okay,
Like,
make sure I'm good. How you feeling, Maureen?
Hi, who are you? It just says iPhone.
iPhone. Come on, you can't figure out who I am? Let's play a guessing game.
Steve.
Winner,
All right.
winner.
Let's put your name on.
Well, I'm having technical difficulties. I'm gonna try logging in on computer.
Okay.
How's everybody doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Wonderful, because I'm here.
Oh, boy, you're full of vinegar today.
Spicy, of course.
Our video.
They're not here because it's Cinco de Mayo.
That's why you're not here. You're Cinco de Mayo in it.
Are you guys at Puerto Vallarta?
That's what.
All righty, everybody. Good evening and thank you for your patience. We had a little technical difficulty, but we seem to have worked with it. We'll try to do the same with the agenda tonight. Keep you all moving. My name is Joan Beely. I'm the chairperson for the Planning and Zoning Commission. This meeting is going to be, you're going to be able to either remote in or teleconference in. We have a Zoom capability, and I see that two of my commissioners are online, so that's good. So we will have a quorum for tonight's meeting. For those of you who are attending, I'd ask that you mute yourselves if you're able to do so, that we won't pick up any background noise with the tape. And if you do go to address the commission, please state your name and your title for the record. And we want to make sure that you're not going to be speaking over each other, so that there's a clear record and everything is understood. I'm going to ask that Maureen just go ahead and call the roll for the meeting, so nobody's with us.
Diane Percy.
Here.
Timothy Sigma, ask to be excused.
Yes.
Brian Rogan,
He's
Here.
see online and remote, Sandra Capola,
here.
Scott Hamill, you may have asked to be excused.
I believe he did, yes.
Location. Kevin Healy,
Here.
Andrew Legnani, alternate. Do not see him. And Steve Biella Jr., alternate.
Here.
All right, so Steve, I'm going to ask you to be seated for the meeting. So this way we have our 5 commissioners, okay?
No problem.
All right, good. All right. So we have a full agenda, and I know that Maureen, you've been doing like double duty and a lot of other jobs, zoning officer and such, and you've been trying to keep ahead of things. And you did give us the minutes for the April 21st meeting. However, in all fairness, I have not had a chance to review them. They did come late to us. I don't know if anyone else has, but I would prefer that we table the minutes if we can. With the motion to table review of the minutes. Okay, motion by Ms. Dorsey. Do we have a second? Second. All right, second by Ms. Capola. Further discussion from the commission? And all those in favor? Aye. Brian?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. I know you guys are online and you're zooming in, but please stay with us and we're going to try to get through this, okay? Commission business. The first item is the Connecticut General Statute 24 referral for the acquisition of property of the Spence, is that pronounced Spence Reservoir Road, and approximately 1 acre of land, 40 feet wide, and adjacent land easements for open space connectivity to Timberland Park. And this is going to be an 824, so this is basically a recommendation. Is there anyone here, Maureen, do you want to address this issue or?
I'll give you a real quick. Jim Mahoney is online. Because I'm still recuperating. If you want to take over, that's great. If not, I just provide the summary along with his summary, and either one of us can take it.
Okay, Jim.
So this is a parcel that the town has been looking at for a while. And if you remember in the 2013 Plan of Conservation and Development, there was a recommendation to connect Timberland Park to Reservoir Road and then ultimately to Ragged Mountain. And this property came up for sale. There's a couple of lots there. It's a large enough area that we can carve out 40 feet for the town along the Southington boundary to create a trail connection into Timberland Park. And we found that there's also a steep area where that parcel enters Timberland Park. So we negotiated an easement that would follow the rear property lines of the remaining parcels to the east to create a better area to connect. With this connection, the trail, the existing trail goes up over Shorten Mountain, goes through a number of private properties. So if those property owners ever withheld permission for the trail, then this would be the place where the trail could go. Could also be an alternate trail route. The north side of Shorten Mountain also gets very icy in the winter, so this would be preferable. And hopefully, we are working on trying to identify whether we can develop another connection in Berlin to Ragged Mountain. But failing that, the connection in Southington is through the property of George and Marilyn Brierly. So we expect that will be secured as a permanent connection. So this is an important step forward in our efforts to interconnect all our open space areas and to preserve the path of the major trails that go through Berlin.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Commission questions?
No, I'll make a motion.
Oh, okay. Go right ahead.
I'll make a motion to make a favorable recommendation for the acquisition of this property under section 824 to town council. And also request the purchase of open space markers for the area to be considered by the Conservation Commission.
Okay, terrific. We have a motion by Ms. Dorsey. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Polo. Further discussion? Then all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. All right. on to
Thank
the
you.
public- All right, thank you, Jim. Good job. All right. Onto the public hearings. We have item 1 is item A is a special permit site plan application of the Preserves SM LLC for 76 residential units in 48 buildings and 28 single family units on lot 1, 51 Rand Acres Lane. And this is continued from hearings that started back on February 3rd, March 3rd, March 17th, April 7th, and April 21st, and we've arrived at 5 p.m. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Attorney Tim Sullivan on behalf of the applicant, Preserve SM LLC. Joseph Klepacki is joining us today. He's one of the principals of Preserve. He's online. A new papa. He couldn't be here tonight, but he's got a new
Oh,
baby.
congratulations, that's fantastic.
Also here is Bart Bove, the engineer. Bart and I have been here many times. I think everybody's well aware of this application. And really just a little bit of housekeeping tonight. We have to close the public hearing. We don't have enough extension days to get beyond to the next meeting. But I believe Maureen gave her report or updated report indicates that all the Ts have been crossed, and Is dotted, and responded to all the comments of engineering as well as the town planner, and anybody else that commented, the fire marshal, et cetera. Parks made numerous revisions. I think going into today, the only thing that remained based on the last meeting is Mike Ahern, the town engineer, was looking for an agreement between the Kensington Fire District, the Water Control Commission, and the preserve regarding the sewer system. And we have that agreement. I've submitted it to Maureen. So I believe that was the last outstanding item. At this time, I'll just turn it over to Bart briefly, and everybody knows, I think, well, everybody's familiar with it over many times, 76 unit development next to Ragged Mountain, donating land to the Berlin Land Trust, as well as preserving by conservation easement the entire surrounding, the actual footprint of the construction will be about 20 acres of 110 acre site. So I'll give Bart the floor just to wrap up what you've done since last time.
Thank you, Marco, with Michi Cole, representing the applicant. Yeah, basically, all I've done since the last meeting is, if you remember, Mike's memo had a bunch of revisions based on his comments. I've quantified all those, made one full set of plans, brought them to Maureen. She's got an electronic copy and a hard copy. So now everything is on one set of plans and not scattered around with the revisions. I think the read date is April 19th, 2022. And other than that, I think we've satisfied all staff's comments with regard to the plan, both planning, engineering, and I think fire had some comments too. So and that we're set from the plan standpoint.
And then I'll just go to confirm that the agreements that we were pending have all been handled to the satisfaction of town staff as well as corporation council. And that any of the comments made are basically anything outstanding is something that happens during the permitting or the development stages. And that's what the rest of the comments are, including the engineer's comments. They got a little confusing, but those are all construction oriented comments during the development. So staff has been satisfied.
Commission. Commissioners, any questions, comments at this point?
I would note also, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
again, that there are a couple of things that the commission needs to acknowledge with regard to the proposal as Attorney Sullivan stated. Their proposal is to convey the open space of the Berlin Land Trust and the and to confirm that the architectural style, the materials installed is all acceptable. And that the recreational areas are adequate for the use. So the charges of this type of development that would, and the phasing plan.
Yeah.
That they would, it needs to come up with permission to acknowledge whether or not.
And this is part of your staff comments. on
Yeah,
that.
those were the things, the recommendations we need to determine at the beginning. I meant the further the comments and then the comments for the favorable decision for the conditions of approval.
Yeah.
Open space, architectural style, recreation.
And the phasing. That's the second one.
Did you want this?
It's in your supplemental package.
I remember reading it, I just didn't have.
Oh, okay.
For when I make my motion.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, okay. Any questions online? I'm gonna go to Brian and Steve. You guys have any questions regarding this proposal? Because we're still in public hearing.
I have no questions at this point.
Okay, thank you, Brian. How about you, Steve Bynum?
Good as always.
Good as always.
Oh, okay, thank you, thank you,
Good as always. Thank you,
All right.
Attorney Sullivan.
thank you. All right. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Is there anyone from the public? This is, we're at the last day of our public hearing on this. And if there's anyone from the public who would like to speak or address the commission regarding this applicant, now would be the time to do so, whether it be for or against. All right, hearing none. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public, sorry. I wasn't turned on.
That's okay.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing. Do we have a second? Second. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Capola. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, those opposed, so moved. All right, public hearing is closed on this. Now we have item B, is a special permit site plan application of Shuttle Meadow Development LLC for multifamily development at 309 Main Street in East Berlin. This is also a public hearing that was continued from April 21st, and now here we have a land. Okay. Good deal. You brought your own stuff.
They can, maybe I said mute me, but they can't hear me, right?
No, they can't hear you. Please say, could you please mute? That's what usually what they say. Well,
This is
there
not
we
my-
are.
Okay, if you're online now, please, we're here in conversation, so you just may want to mute.
Mute me. You have
I
to
did it.
hit, you did you
Did
hit it?
I guess we're good. I wanted to say, what's for dinner?
Good evening, Mr.
Oh, you're ready.
I'm Brett.
Oh, okay, well, I'm glad.
Okay.
Here we go.
For the record, I'm David Carson, one of the principals of the OCC Group with offices in Cheshire, representing the applicant. The application before you this evening is for a multifamily development on 6.81 acre parcel, which is zoned EOR, and located on the easterly side of Main Street in East Berlin, approximately 150 feet north of the intersection with Connecticut Route 372. The parcel is presently developed with a two-family house on the road frontage. We, except for the area right around the house, the westerly half of the parcel is a sparsely wooded upland. The easterly half of the parcel is a wooded wetland associated with the floodplain of the Mattabesset River, which forms the rear property. The proposed development of the site calls for 19 units. The existing two-family house and an additional 17 units located in 5 separate buildings. 20% of these units will be designated as affordable. All the units will be served by public sanitary sewer, water, and natural gas. Each unit will be provided with its own garage and an additional assigned surface parking space. Each unit will have either a 200 square foot deck or patio area, in addition to a large common open space area overlooking the wooded wetland to the west. This area will be improved with a gazebo in the corner and a split rail fence along the top of the slope. This area will serve a dual purpose in that it will be the location for an underground stormwater system as well. This stormwater system is designed to mitigate the increase in peak discharge from 200 through 100-year storm. The drainage comps as submitted and reviewed by the town engineer. This system will discharge via an oversized level spreader at the toe of the slope, just outside the limits of the 50-foot wetland buffer. And this entire plan has just recently been approved by the Inland Wetlands Commission. In addition to the review of the storm drainage system by the town engineer, the entire plan has been reviewed by all the departments within the town of Berlin, and all their comments have been addressed as presented on the plans before you. Included in the plans is a detailed landscape plan for the site. On this particular plan, the shaded in green area is a proposed conservation easement, which encompasses the wetlands and the floodplain area of the Mattabesett River. There are existing large deciduous trees down both property sidelines. Those will be maintained. The site will be interspersed with additional trees, foundation planting for all the units, and additional wetland buffer planting along the slope area here, with the rest of it remaining in its natural disturbed wooded condition. Additionally, as part of the landscaping and part of the stormwater maintenance system, a series of rain gardens. There are 5 rain gardens proposed throughout the site. The roof drainage from these buildings will be directed to the rain gardens. The rain gardens will be wildflower rain gardens, which will be allowed to grow natural. They're mowed late in the fall, and then in the springtime remulched, and they continue to serve their purpose for some stormwater mitigation and still provide an attractive setting for the overall site. With regard to traffic, as I said, the entrance here is approximately 150 feet from the intersection with 372. Due to that location, it eliminates any concern with potential traffic speeds on Main Street, which might inhibit entering or exiting the site. It also, based on the fact that the signalized intersection at 372 has trips for the lights, I was quite amazed that the trips are scheduled in 30-second intervals. So it only takes 30 seconds to trip the light from somebody traveling on Main Street onto 372. As such, there's no concern for possible stacking distance at the intersection backing up across the entrance. We believe that the vast majority of traffic from this development will obviously go out to 372, traveling either to the Berlin Turnpike or to I-91 for work, whether shopping or entertainment. Based on that, we expect little traffic flow through the residential area to the north. As an apartment complex, traffic generation from apartments is significantly lower than single-family housing, and the peak is significantly lower than possible office development. Either of those two things are the other possibility for development within the POR zone. So this kind of reflects the best of all worlds in terms of traffic generation. The overall concept for the site, an initial decision was made to maintain the existing 2-family house out at the road and to rehab that. The units have been broken up into these smaller modules, and designed with a colonial type style. And our feeling is that by maintaining the house here and using these style units, that this offered a unique opportunity to transition between the more conventional apartment development which exists on the corner and the single family residential houses that exist as you go to the north. When you drive by here, you're going to see an old residential house before you actually pull into the property, and the units inside will also be of colonial character. Units will range from approximately 1,700 to 1,800 square feet in size. They're 2-floor units with the bedrooms tucked up on the second floor under the roof. Each unit is slightly different, just to add some character. Both the exterior is slightly different and the interior floor plan for each one is slightly different. We think overall that this is quite an attractive project. I think the developer is anticipating young professional singles or couples renting these units. Now, again, for 2 reasons. One, the available extra room inside for a work at home office, and the fact that commuting, whether it be all the way to New Haven or Hartford from this location, is extremely easy. That pretty much wraps up my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions the commission might have for the board.
Okay, yes, Maureen.
And you just tell me, did you send me the architectural electronically?
Yes, the
They're in there?
last page is 7.
Okay, I'm just trying to scroll through, colored, and I just want to explain to those online, we had a colored up set, but I pulled up the pages that he's been describing here as he's
Yes,
gone
it is the
along.
very last page.
Get to that, so it goes online. Thank you.
Okay, one quick question. The
Sure.
entrance to this complex, does it be directly off of Main Street
Yes.
as opposed to, okay,
Yes, yes, it's right at the same location that the existing driveway to the existing house is.
I'm trying to place it exactly, because I know that there's different structures in there, and I think there was like an auto body shop or something in there.
Okay, there's nothing in here right now. Over the past couple of years, this apartment complex was
Yeah.
built right on the corner,
Yeah,
and that's our neighbor.
okay, so I think there was an auto body place, or it's like a garage or something, but I think it may be more north of it.
It's all residential,
Okay.
both sides of the road.
I'll bring up the GIS.
Yeah, please, because I just want to make sure that. And 20% of this was going to be affordable?
20%.
Any other questions while we're waiting? What? Sorry, go ahead.
Quickly go, this is Mill Street going out into Cromwell.
Yeah.
Over here. Main Street right here, the new Finishers Court apartment complex that was developed by Pat Snow a couple years ago
Yes.
is in here. And this is, there had been some years ago, 2 houses on the property. When the older woman who owned the property passed, one of the buildings was demolished, and this building has been vacant for some time. In the staff report that I'm working on, and I'm sorry for that, I've just been out and sick and stuff, but I did note that that property was is subject to consideration for the blight list because of that property, and has been subject to enforcement orders since that older woman had let it fall into disrepair a number of years ago.
Okay.
I feel that we got I don't think a picture shows.
Yeah, it gives me,
The field part doesn't have a picture.
that's all right.
So if I may,
Yeah.
as you can see from the G, oh, could you go back there for a second?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
As you can see from the GIS there, the very next house to the north is quite a distance away. And where the units are actually being built, the new units, there, it's vacant land to the north, that strip of land on the adjoining parcel there. So that these units don't abut even any existing.
And then the rear end of that property there?
I'm sorry, behind it, because you have all the housing up in sort of the front, and then
Right. Right, at this point right here, the gradient drops off
okay,
about 13 feet down to this wooded wetland.
oh, okay.
So we're,
So that's as
Up on-
far as you go.
that's as far as we go.
Okay. That's what I want to know. All right, commission questions, well, anyone, go ahead.
Would you please explain where dumpster locations would be and screening associated with that?
The way this is designed at the present time is because all these units have garages, individual trash cans in the garage. Put out on trash. That's the concept. Try to make it as residential as possible.
Is there enough frontage for all those garbage cans on garbage day?
They all have individual driveways, just like,
But
Just
this
like
would be a
anybody's house.
private drive, right?
What?
This would be a private drive, so the trash pickup, I assume, would be on
this,
Main Street.
no, this is a typical roadway running through here. Same size as Main Street. It's private, of course.
I believe, and I would have to check with the Department of Public Works, but I believe that where the development, multifamily developments have to contract separately for garbage pickup. They're not part of that. I want to confirm that. I don't know for sure, and I can't get that confirmed with Public Works. But that then they would contract, I assume, for the hauler to come in. If that wasn't feasible, then I would definitely recommend
No, that,
dumpster locations. But I don't believe it's part of the
yeah, no,
general
this would
town
be private
service.
trash.
Okay, yeah, because I myself was, now you're talking about it, and I'm looking at it going, okay, so where's he gonna turn around? This trash guy. But if you're gonna do a dumpster thing, and everyone takes the trash out to the dumpster.
It's no different.
Yeah.
The only difference is how many times he stops.
Yeah,
The truck still comes in, the truck still makes a K-turn and gets out.
that would be interesting.
No
How wide
problem.
are those, how wide is that road?
24 feet wide.
Other questions? Online, Brian or Steve, do you have any questions at this time for the applicant?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay, Brian. Steve Biella, any questions at this time for the applicant?
Trying to mute myself. No, we're good. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Steve?
I was having a hard time unmuting myself. I am good at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sandy, did you have any
Yeah,
questions?
just one quick question regarding, and I know we're just hitting spring, which is great, but what would be the plan for snow removal, where that would be piled, et cetera? Where would you look to, what's the plan for that?
It would most likely, we're not going to say exactly how snowplower would plow this, but in most likely, the snow would be placed along here and it would be pushed to the ends.
Thank you.
I might just add back on the driveway a little bit. Your regulations, this is a private roadway. Your regulations require that roadway to be designed to public roadway standards, which it is.
Is it? I mean, I'm looking at it and so you're gonna have, one building's gonna have how many units in it? Tell me how this all breaks down.
3, 3, 3, 4, 4.
Okay, so each one of those units is gonna be a private unit, so it's not gonna be like upstairs, you know. I mean, it will be upstairs and downstairs, but for the same
Right.
person.
Yeah, the best way to envision it is this one on the end.
All right.
It's virtually a single family house.
Yeah, are you suggesting any kind of common area for the development?
Common area is, whoop, my light not
Oh,
working.
that's okay. No, I just saw it.
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, so the common area is to the rear,
Right.
all right, near the water storm
Yeah, it's all,
detention.
yeah, the detention is under.
And then
underground.
these wildflower gardens that you're gonna have?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Have you thought of putting vegetable patches in with the cost of food these days? Like
Not really.
lettuce or something?
I don't think we could guarantee that 19 farmers in here. I'm not sure we would get one, but the other 18 would probably be opposed to it.
All right,
The home that's currently there, that's going to be restored, is that gonna be a one family or a two?
Two-family.
It will be.
all right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as Maureen said, it's in tremendous disrepair. It would have been simple to tear it down and build more new buildings. We believe that rehabbing it is essential to the character of the entire street and what we're trying to do, transition between an apartment development, which although it exits off of Main Street, it's pretty much on 372. And the rest is a typical residential neighborhood with old houses, which are quite far apart.
Okay, thank you. This is part of the public hearing, so if there's anyone out there either in Zoom land or here with us, if you want to address the commission regarding this application, now would be the time to do so. So no one's for or against at this point. Okay. All right. Yeah,
One of the things that
that just sort of popped. Okay.
yeah, well, there are things that, well, one thing came up last meeting and I was going to look into it and it was finding out about the PLR zone at that intersection.
Yeah.
And what we did find is that this parcel was rezoned with the enactment of the PLR zone back in 1987. That's when that corner became PLR. And I'll just quickly share the GIS again with the keep moving people now. So that you can see the zoning layer and where the zone lines are, and that is where they have been to the best of our research since 1987.
Okay.
Well,
Let's just gonna give you a hard time.
so that's this parcel right here, along with the parcel to the south and the one across Mill Street, which is office condos that are across the street. So I just wanted to get that on the record. The question popped as to whether or not the house has been evaluated for restoration, or we might be likely to find that once we get in there, that then we'll end up with a request to modify. And just for the commission's knowledge, that was the question which be answered.
Yeah, what would happen with that? Just
I,
to her
I,
point.
well, I would assume that if the renovation costs were too extreme, that it would simply be rebuilt.
Okay. Rebuilt using the same footprint?
Basically, yes. If we wanted to tear it down, we would have torn it down and made our buildings bigger. So obviously the intent is to
Well, yeah, well, I think to her point, basically the planner was, I don't mean to speak to Maureen, but just saying, if you go in there, sometimes when you start to open a project up like that,
Absolutely.
you have more work than you
Mhm.
imagine.
And it's happened more than once.
Yes,
Project.
and it's happened on my house.
Well,
We all had that.
the projects that come through. Those modifications. The other question I had was with regard to, or rather the bring up to the commission is that the plan, and I don't have the landscape plan up right now, but the landscape plan as described, he said the existing tree line along the north and south property line is going to remain as kind of a buffer and transition. And unfortunately, because I was doing my review virtually with plans on a small computer, I want to make sure that the trees are in fact on this property and might not be subject to the neighboring properties removing those trees, or at least the commission knowing whose trees those are, and whether or not any consideration for either beaking it up or not. I haven't been out there. I have not finished my review, being out for 2 weeks, but okay.
I can tell you, not definitively, the trees are down the property line, and they are large trees. So I am certain that at least half of the trees, or a portion of half of every tree, may be on both sides of the property. They are right on the property line. I would be surprised if the abutting property owner would want to take down trees.
Yeah.
They're more protection for him than they are for this development. But what I did fail to mention, the plan also calls for the introduction of retaining walls right here and solid wood fencing right there, in addition to saving the trees.
And how high would the retaining wall be? Are you proposing?
It would vary, but it might be 4, 5, 5.5 feet at most, with this depressed. The units depressed. Property line here, units depressed.
Okay.
Okay, so the rear patio area of those units
Yeah.
are on grade.
So the reason for the wall would be to lend privacy to the
Yeah.
backyard of that.
Yes, exactly.
And I think we. do
And
have a
the same thing here, right, to create privacy here, a wood fence is called for solid wood fence. Because again, these trees, the large trees,
Yeah.
you know, they're not trees with leaves down to the ground, they're up, 20 feet.
Yeah. Would you be opposed to extending that stone look all the way? So instead of the wood fence, which will kind of like fall apart after, it'll start looking.
I don't think that would be appropriate, and the fact that that these are apartment units owned by the developer certainly is not going to be able to rent units if 20 years in the future, if the fence is rotting.
Yeah, well, you would
I don't
hope,
really-
but
I would
unfortunately,
certainly
you know, we've all seen stuff fall into disarray, and I was just, the thought of a nice stone wall, it seems nice at the opening, and I was wondering why the change off to the wood. But,
Realize where the wall is. It's
Yeah.
obviously off the property line because we're trying to protect the trees. In this area, the fencing could be put in below the canopy of the trees.
and how tall will the fencing be?
See,
Okay.
might be a typical 6-foot high fence.
All right. Okay. That's all the questions I have at this time. Anyone else?
The only other question I'm looking at is each unit has a garage and their own designated parking space.
Yes.
So if it's husband, wife, you assume each will have a vehicle.
Mhm.
Do you think that 5 visitor spots for 20 units is going to be adequate?
Realize realize each unit has a driveway for a visitor as well. So this particular layout has probably twice as many visitor parking spaces as any typical apartment complex. Because the driveway does not count under the regulations.
All right, again, we're in public hearing, so is there anyone who has any comment on this? I'll entertain any kind of motion or direction from the commission.
Maureen, you still need time for review on this?
I would like to formulate a list of recommendations and continue the confirmation that it meets the all the parameters of the regulations.
Okay. I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion to continue by Ms. Jorsey. We have a second.
Second.
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Capola. And further discussion? And all those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Thank you, Brian. Steve? And we have-
Aye.
Oh,
Yes.
there you go.
Aye.
Good job. And Sandy, you were aye, right? Okay, thank you. I don't know.
I'll figure it out.
You will?
No, Commissioners.
While you're falling asleep.
That's kind of the opposite as we usually do.
I kind of like it in the dark. That's all right. All right, the next item on the wall sheet, playing with light switch, is going to be a special permit application and unified site plan of Sebastian C. For properties at 202-212 Mill Street, map 10-3, block 86, lots 5 and 5A in the CCD-2 zone 4. Residential apartment.
I got it, hon.
Restaurant at lot 5A to and the addition of a drive-through lane at lot 5, 202 Mill Street. And this was also a public hearing that was continued from April 21st, and here we are today. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good. Okay, what have we got?
Sebastian Malasvini, property owner at 202 and 212 Mill Street. Forgive me, I don't know the procedure for a public hearing that's still open, if I should represent the whole project.
It's, I don't know, Maureen, what would you, I don't know if anyone here is for that public hearing, so you might want to give a brief overview.
Okay.
How about that?
That sounds good. We currently have,
Can't leave the meeting.
Excuse me, for those folks that are online with us, please make sure you mute yourself. Thank you.
so we currently have a approximately 6,000 square foot building here that's used for a flower shop. And we have an old residential building next door that has been converted to office space, both upstairs and down. And what we'd like to do is add another building here, as well as a drive-through to service the flower shop and perhaps put a coffee shop in the front. So a drive-through would serve that coffee shop. And we would like to put residences, a very small residential apartment in the building that now currently has State Farm insurance. So the upstairs would be a small residential apartment, 2 larger apartments upstairs in the flower shop, and 2 apartments with retail downstairs in the proposed building. So the proposal includes this building here, this drive-through, and reconfiguring the parking. We went to wetlands and we did get approved to put in a relatively small retaining wall here, and then a little bit taller one here. And with that, we were able to mitigate any additional stormwater and actually have a little bit excess flood storage. We'd like to keep, the New England feel to the property. We have architecturals here, which I left in my truck, I apologize, but we have architecturals here which are very much in tune with the rest of the property, very New England style, shingles, that sort of thing. perhaps some clapboard siding. That hasn't really worked out 100% yet, but I'd like to wrap any exposed foundation in a stone veneer, that sort of thing. We have a lot of proposed landscaping. We're thinking like a pervious type of patio here, so if we do get approved for a coffee shop, perhaps customers could sit out here to enjoy the outdoors. And then we also have an existing garage here, which would remain to service the property with mowers, gardening tools, tractors, things of that nature. We met with DOT preliminarily, and we originally were going to keep a driveway here that exists so that the State Farm customers could come in and go out, but the DOT didn't like that. They wanted us to take that out, so we did, and we resubmitted the plans. And we also resubmitted some of, I think, all the comments from engineering as far as, there's a few details and things that they wanted changed. So the engineer did change those, and we resubmitted them. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. We have a proposed dumpster here with a fence and arborvitae's around it. And we have arborvitae's proposed here and here and here. And there was some concern at the last public hearing that the headlights, if it's in the winter and whatnot, or early in the morning, that people might come in and shine their lights on these properties back here. This does go down goes down on a pretty good grade. So the lights truly are pointing down, not up at the properties. It's a down gradient into, and the properties are raised up. So it wouldn't shine directly into the homes. However, we propose, some fencing here that's perhaps solid vinyl to kind of block that. So when the cars come in, if there is any residual light that might bounce into their properties, we would take care of it with a solid fence and arborvitae's.
All right, and that's where we are right now. Maureen, did you have anything you wanted to add on this project before we?
No, the staff comments are still pending on this. I've been out since the day after
Okay.
the last meeting, until this afternoon.
All right, well, yeah, I know. I mean,
So it's been tough.
okay,
Sorry for that. I apologize.
all right. This is part of a public hearing, so if there's anyone who would like to address the commission regarding this application, now would be the time to let us know, either for or against. Anyone online? Hearing none. Going to the commission, do we have some questions?
I do have one question. At the last public hearing, some of the residents also had a concern about the lighting in general in the parking lot. Has any consideration been given to that as far as trying to redirect it, or?
Well, the civil engineer has hired or tried to hire somebody to come up with a plan, but they're away until mid next week. So we don't have a plan yet, but it is in the works. And Ozzy, the engineer, will get it to us as soon as that person returns from wherever they are.
Okay.
So yes, the answer is yes, we are working on that.
Great, okay.
I have a question also, following up with the neighbors. I'm not opposed to what you're proposing, but I'm very aware of the neighborhood that's well established in there. And I'm giving, my thought is to go to the place to order for takeout, and, everyone calls it a swamp box or whatever.
Okay.
And the volume of that and how it could affect the neighborhood, especially if people are out, they want to do a barbecue, they have family and friends over in their backyard, which is going to be your business travel pattern.
Right.
And they'll be listening to people give orders for coffee and donuts and stuff. And so what will you do to remedy that?
Well, what we originally thought was that the box should go here because it's such a great distance to the nearest residences. It's literally, I think 660 feet. I'm not exactly sure of the distance, but I know
Yeah.
it's well over 500. I believe it was 660 in this direction, and then over here, it was probably 300.
Yeah.
So what we originally thought was we'd put it here, but then we were thinking maybe we'd put it here and the garage would help block it and this house would help block this out. It's probably more sensible to put it here because the sounds would go this way into the trees, into the fencing, and the residences are much further away there than they are here. You know, there's some residents and upstairs on what used to be the vacuum village.
Yeah.
There's a residence there, and then there's the little house next to it, and then the house on Worthington Bridge. So what I was asking Ozzy, the engineer, is wouldn't it make more sense to put it back here?
Would you think if you go with a coffee shop where people would, you know, buy a cup of coffee and sit around on a patio, are you really gonna go with the takeout window? Would you do both?
Yeah, you know, there is a little bit of a backstory. It's my daughter who wants to run a coffee shop, and she really wants to drive because when she was in college, she's getting ready to graduate. When she was in college, she still works there. They don't have a drive-through, and one of their competitors does, and that their numbers are, you know, they're just not the same. There's no comparison. So I would like to get it if possible. Yes, because it would really help establish her. My hope is that people come into the flower shop and it becomes a little bit more of like a community type of thing where, you know, they come in, they sit down, there's floral decor, that sort of thing in the shop. They enjoy that, maybe buy something, go sit out on the deck and then go on their way. I think this.
I like that idea better than the squawk box. To be honest with you.
I can understand that. I certainly can understand that. I don't know, like, I haven't had a chance to look like at the boxes on Farmington Avenue, like Duncan. Do you know how close those houses are behind on, is it Porter's Pass that runs back there? I don't know like what a good distance is. I know the regulation says 100 feet to residential. But I don't know what is considered a really good distance so that the sound dissipates.
Well, I think on Farmington Avenue where the Dunkin' Donuts is, there's no real houses behind it. I think there are businesses.
Where Whole Donut is, where Whole Donut is, you have residences closer than 600 feet. I don't know if that's an issue that Maureen has received complaints on or not, but seems like you have some volume control to have some control.
I'm sure that somewhere out there, there is some sort of a technical guideline that says don't have it over this many decibels.
Yeah.
I really don't know yet, but it's something I'm more than happy to look into.
Yeah, because I think with the Whole Donut, you drive up and order directly at the window.
Right, because
There is no box.
they put it in and then discovered that they weren't within the 100 feet required. Yeah, so it was kind of after the fact that it got discovered, we're not within 100 feet of the nearest residence.
I just need to know that we're doing what we can to protect the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And also giving thought to these residential properties above. And I wouldn't want to live in a property where I'm constantly hearing people order. So because you're proposing putting rentals on the top.
That's correct.
So, you know, I'm not sure how loud they can be. I do know that they're kind of obnoxious.
Okay.
I understand the purpose for them.
Yep.
And I can understand from a business perspective that that's a good way to do business. But there's gotta be some kind of happy medium, especially when you have the established neighborhoods around, but I know that's my thoughts.
I mean, I don't know if the commission would even consider if we went to, like the Whole Donut type of scenario where you have to pull to the window. I don't know if that would even work if it's even reasonable.
Yeah.
I do know that, the regulation says 100 feet. We took that into consideration and
Yeah.
we're in all direction. We are considerably further.
And if you do go with one of these swamp boxes, can you control the volume on it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's definite.
But Maureen, I think that you said that you have some more work you need to do with this.
I do,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right. All right.
There were outstanding questions from the last meeting to adjust with the town engineer as well.
Well, I think we got a pretty good direction for you anyway, what your homework's gonna be. I know Maureen has plenty of homework here. So, Steve or Brian, do you have any questions for the applicant while you're still in public hearing? Before we-
Commissioner Rogan, I have some comments. I think the two big issues here are the light pollution and, like you said, the squawk box. So I think that if we could figure those two things out, we'd be headed in a good direction. Like you said about decibels, if you can control that so that's not intrusive on the neighbors, I think that'd be a good step in the right direction. As far as the lights go, I would like to hear back from your consultant before I make a decision on that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Steve Viola, do you have any feedback at this time?
Nope.
Okay, all right, so Maureen has some work to do, so can I hear,
I will make a motion to continue the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Sandy was giving.
I'll second.
You were trying to give him a chance to pipe in. Okay, so we have a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, those opposed, so moved, and we'll see you next go around. All right, thank you. Next up is a proposed text amendment to the zoning regulations of Robert Rossi to add automotive appearance enhancement service, use of automobiles, motorcycles and pickup trucks, non-mechanical and non-sales to section 7CGI2 special permit uses. All right, and this is also an item that we had opened back on April 21st, and we're continuing it today. Is there anyone here for this proposal? Yeah, there you are. Thank you. Come on down.
Robert Rossi, Kensington Road in Sutton. Remember last year, Maureen wanted to look into licensing for any of the proposed businesses that might go into the zone. I've only spoken to the potential tenants who tell me they're not required to have any licensing for what they do that would fall under this category. I know Maureen's been not well, so I don't know if she had time to do that or not.
It just, from everything I was able to find, I did look into that somewhat, and I do not believe any of the proposed uses would require licensing, and if they did, they jump into the other category of use, by the way. It's the language is proposed.
All right, then.
However, I have not had the opportunity to formulate additional comments with regard to it. I was trying to figure out if we have or have had any uses that are uses or use categories, whether they're businesses that exist in town or categories listed elsewhere in the regulations that would fall under the same type of language. So for instance, if we have is glass replacement, say a window, windshield place, or the kind of places that wraps vehicles. Do we have any in town? And if we do, what zone are they in and what regulations they fall over? I was trying to make sure we're not reinventing a wheel that already exists or causing confusion by calling it Apple is in one zone and a delicious apple in another zone.
Yeah.
And which just then creates continuity problem. So that's what I was looking into and would like the opportunity to continue some of that analysis.
Okay.
Of course, that's up to the commission as well. You've probably been here, most of you have been here through many iterations of zoning amendments, and you may already have a handle on it. And not me, but,
Oh, no. No, I don't think that'd be the case. Okay, commissioners, do we have any additional questions or concerns before we continue? Yes, we have to continue because, all right. Is there anyone in the public who would like to address the commission regarding this application, either for or against? Now would be the time to address the commission. Brian and Steve, I know you're online. I don't know if you heard what Maureen said, but she was sort of asking that we continue. She hasn't had a chance to wrap up some of the research at her end.
No problem.
Okay, okay. Well, that's good. Thanks, Steve. All right, so do we have a motion on this just to continue?
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing.
Okay, motion to continue the public hearing made by Ms. Dorsey. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion. Oh, give it
All
to
right.
Steve.
All right, I'll give it to Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Aye.
All right, okay, so moved. Next on to the application of Newport Realty Group LLC for modifications to a portion of the approved mixed-use development unified site plan and special permit for development of Building A, 10 Steel Boulevard. And this was it also continued? No. Okay, all right, so here we go.
We had a real quick conversation about this at the last meeting as to whether a public hearing would be required for this application. We determined that a public hearing could not be waived. And therefore we noticed it for this meeting.
Okay.
Public hearing because the application had already started.
Okay, all right. So that's where we are.
Grant, did you send me this today?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna get all this done now. We are gonna get this done. Thank you. Brian.
I come with it, but
Yeah. All right, thanks. For the record, Brandon Hanfield with the Answer Perimeter Consultants, civil engineer, representing the applicant Newport Realty Group. Mark Lovely and Tony Valenti are here with us, and we'll speak towards the architecturals later on. We're here to discuss, obviously, which was 913 Farmington Avenue is now 10 Steel Boulevard. This was part of a TOD or transit-oriented development approved in September 2019. This sheet here we used in our original presentation to you, and I just wanted to bring it up to show the original configuration and give a snapshot of what it looked like 3 years ago before the construction happened. So you can see the multiple lots, boulevard in the middle, 913 or 10 Steel here. This is 9 Steel Boulevard now, or 903 Farmington Ave. 889 Farmington Ave is out back, or 55 Steel. And then this would here is retained by the town as public land. So since that time, like this, just a snapshot of what was included. And then 861 Farmington Ave was also included in the original TOD development. So the total acreage of the combined or unified site plan was 4 acres or 4.02. And we're here to discuss 913 or 10 Steel. Second thing I'll show you. This is, this is the new one. This was the approved site layout plan, also from the 2019 plan. You can see the boulevard connecting Farmington Avenue out to Berlin Station. That has since been constructed by the town. So the boulevard does exist. The proposal itself had 5 buildings consisting of a mixed use of multifamily, retail, residential office, medical office. So building A was medical office and professional office on 2 floors. Building B was a restaurant, office, and multifamily on the upper floors. Building C was a cafe or small restaurant. And then buildings D and E are multifamily units. So that's the original development. In total, we had 77 multifamily units scattered about buildings B, D, E, and 1 unit in 861 Farmington Avenue. We had medical office on the 1st floor, professional office on the 2nd floor of A. And we're here to discuss a change from that medical office on a 2-story building to more of a 1-story layout with multifamily above. This is the proposed layout. It's not a lot different. Again, what you see here is the boulevard's been constructed. Building B is currently under construction. And we're here to discuss building A, which was a more square building located at the center of the lot. Now it's a longer building with a similar presence along Farmington Avenue of 2 stories. And then as you go away from Farmington Avenue, it's a 1-story building. So the medical office and office and then your retail space will be focused on that 1st floor. And then the 2nd floor above here will be multifamily. So there'll no longer be any medical office or office space on the 2nd floor. So that's really the main change here is the addition of 4 multifamily units on the 2nd floor. And then pushing all of the office space down onto the 1st floor. So in total, what we do here is we go from 77 multifamily units as part of the TOD to 81. It still meets your density requirements over that 4 acres of unified site plan. There were some minor site modifications associated with the building reconfiguration. So when it got longer, we did lose a few parking spaces behind the building here. And then we also lost a few parking spaces to the east of the building. But in recalculating the global TOD parking requirements, the reduction of medical office space and the use of multifamily, in addition to accounting for the recent improvements to 861 and 873 Farmington Avenue, which were a separate unified site plan. We went from a requirement of 198 parking spaces down to 171 based on the uses that are on the site. And we're still providing 176. So we have more than adequate parking for the uses that are being proposed, but it is reduced from that original approved plan. That is the high level overview of what we're proposing from a site standpoint. Happy to answer any questions now, or I can hand it over for the architectural and then come back up if there's any questions later.
Do we have any questions? Yes.
Just a quick question, the square footage of building A, is that now increased or reduced?
So it's slightly increased. The footprint area went up to 7,700 square feet. It was approximately 6,800, so it's 7,600 square feet of office on the 1st floor. Total square footage is 7,700, so not accounting walls. The upper floor multifamily is just under 4,000 square feet. So in general, it's a little increase. I have the numbers. Let's see here, exact numbers.
Are the proposal for the residents, multifamily, how big will those units be?
About 1,000 square feet deep. 790, so.
So they're basically 1 bedroom?
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, you'll have to.
You do a floor plan.
Yeah, all right.
Hi, Tony Valenti, Newport Realty Group, 17 Main Street, Plantsville. The 4 apartments will be a mix of two bedrooms and 2 1 bedroom. 1 bedroom for 700 square feet and a 2 bedroom for 900 square feet.
Commissioner Rogan,
It will be margarita apartments as well.
All right, Commissioner Rogan has a question. Okay.
I do have so now that we're reviewing the site plan of the whole thing, I heard there were some troubles with connecting to the train station property for the fluidity of traffic. Has that been resolved from the boulevard connecting to their property?
Okay, hold on, we're getting the map back.
Lots of maps.
Maps, lots of maps.
All right. So yeah, working with the town and the town's consultant engineer on the boulevard itself. Again, it has been constructed.
all the way out to all the way up to the rail station here. But what happens here is the boulevard transitions to the state of Connecticut property, which is the Depot Berlin Station. Unfortunately, Depot Road is owned by Amtrak, so it's not, there's a lot of legal action behind the scenes that goes on, but Depot does not have an easement to grant the town of Berlin to use that road. So the interconnectivity of the boulevard through Depot Road does not have the proper easement. They are working on that. Until that's granted, my understanding is there will be a gate installed, and this will be a cul-de-sac or function as a cul-de-sac here. Once these apartments are done, that gate will be moved to the transition from the boulevard onto the Depot station site or Berlin station site. And once those easements are in place, the gate will be open and it'll be.
Maureen. I just want to give a reminder to the commission that as we were working through this, the staff and the developer and the state and everyone, we did bring this into the commission for discussion at a couple of items, a couple of different meetings. I don't have those dates in front of me, but the last time was probably several months back, giving you that overview of the temporary cul-de-sac. One of the reasons it looks the way it does is to reduce the amount of reconstruction that may have to happen. So they were able to design it with our town engineer, a lot of input from him as well, so that the striping would create that cul-de-sac circle that meets the standards for the cul-de-sac to be safe and the traffic flow to work through the site until such time additional going on this first phase here. Okay. So that has been looked at by many technical eyes, not solely the developer. And our economic development coordinator is working diligently with all other parties to try to ultimately get the connectivity that we believe was going to not be a problem.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, go ahead.
What level of confidence is there that that's actually going to be resolved? Is that, wondering.
I think we have an answer here.
I think that we're, from the staff level, we just think it's a matter of working through the process and getting the right entities involved at the proper level of decision making at each organization that has to sign up on it. That's my understanding. Mr. Lovely is probably much more in tune with the day-to-day negotiation process.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Lovely, Principal of Newport Really, office at 710 Main Street, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. Yes, actually, Chief Mahoney has been working very hard on that with the DOT and with Amtrak for us to be able to try to get that easement. We would love to have that open sooner than later. We are already in for our building permit for the foundation of the larger site, which is buildings D and E. So we are actually already in for those. So that would be nice to be able to open that up. We're hoping about the time we get that construction done, which that's part of the liner that we need to put in and work with, as part of still the environmental cleanup is part of there too. So that's gonna take some time, but I feel we'll get it done. And I think it's just the timing, that's all it is, you know. The state and these agencies don't move very fast. We're pretty confident that it'll get done, and it's just timing issue. We'd love to see it done sooner than later.
Yes.
Reason
That would
we
be nice.
blocked off right now is just because we don't want with construction going. There was people cutting through there and they were speeding pretty fast, so we did work with your public works department to get that blocked in, so we don't have anybody get hurt.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea.
Definitely.
All right, well, hopefully they're going to help us out with this. And, it'd be nice to have it resolved quickly.
And talk a little bit about the architecture too. We've actually worked with your consultant, Brian Humes, on the project to be able to have it almost mirror what we have across the street at Building B on 9 Steel with pretty much the two-story facade up in the front along Farmington Avenue, keeping from what the original plan was with this little tower right here with some metal roofing on it. We have the tower that's down at this end. And then this facade comes back all the way along the Steel Boulevard to be able to give us that two-story effect that we wanted. That was a recommendation from your architect review board, and we actually have satisfied him, and there isn't a letter of approval from him with this concept. Just going back a little bit for a reason why this changed. Since we originally got this project approved, as we all know, COVID has hit, so many more people are working from home. And you're seeing with second floor office space, so much more vacancy than you have in the past. So what we tried to do, and with the original building that was designed, almost 30% of that was hallways and common areas and spaces, which brought us from 12,000 square feet down to about 8,400. So what we did is we tried to not lose that office and that other space. That's why we made the downstairs of this bigger. And then to satisfy the second floor, we did have the availability within the regulations to be able to fit more apartments on this property. So that's the reasoning, is putting the 4 apartments upstairs to get that two-story look from Farmington Avenue within working with your architectural review. We are doing also, we're doing the same type of bricking so that it almost looks like a downtown effect, just like the building that's being constructed at 9 Steel right now, with the hardy plank type siding on the building with the multi-family. So we are trying to mirror it so it does look like almost like a brand new downtown.
All right, commissioners, do we have any questions for the applicant at this time? And Maureen, do you have anything?
No, I actually don't expect to have any further input or comments other than we did work through with Brandon. I worked through the calculations all already prior to the submission. We went through the numbers, we went through the calculations, and as they represented, they do still fit within the regulations as far as all that goes. I don't recall it being addressed here. I know there, and I don't want to put them on the spot, but we had a discussion about whether any of the units might be affordable because they're adding a unit, and I didn't recall whether we got whether that was mentioned today or not. But that's probably the only thing. The other, not the only other thing. I have another thing. As they stated, they came in with the proposed modification. We sent it off to Brian Hughes, the Kensington Village consultant that we're using for architecture. And so over several months' time, they work together. And this is the design that Brian Hughes had distributed. We distributed in the previous package, I believe, the comments from Brian.
Okay, terrific.
That he basically is fine.
And so it's, as far as the question of affordability, because you're going to be getting more units, or your proposal is going to be asking for more units here on this building. Is it going to, how is it going to skew out with the affordability?
As of right now, we didn't plan on doing any affordability. Because of the fact, I know it was a touchy subject with a lot of people in town when we originally got this approved, so we didn't know if we wanted to open up that can of worms. I would say that if we were to do any affordable, if there were, like, say, if we wanted to say 10% of these, which would be 1 unit, would be affordable. I would recommend we make a stipulation that be put in building either D or E. I'll tell you why. If we did 1 unit, which would be the 10%, we would make up that, because that one has an elevator, and if you get somebody with disabilities, this won't have an elevator, and I think it'd be more publicly better to be able to have that in that building. So if there was, if you guys would like to have 1 unit for getting these 4 units, we wouldn't have a problem doing that, but we'd just like to see the stipulation, to see that it puts in that building too. So if we do get a handicapped person, they have the elevator to be able to get in.
Yeah. So you don't have to put an elevator in this building then?
No, we do, because we don't have to, because there's only 4 units and they're smaller, that's why.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So I mean, I will leave that up to the commission. I know there was a touchy subject, when we originally got this approved, and there was a lot of stuff on the web and stuff like that about everybody thinking it was gonna be affordable, so I didn't know how we wanted to cross.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're careful with our numbers too.
Definitely.
They're so close to the 10% mark, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, we want them all to be very nice projects.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Well, I hope everybody likes the building so far. Hopefully we'll have that open. You won't believe it, we actually, we ordered our electrical outdoor meter socket back in early November. We still don't have it yet because of the delays. We're hoping to get it June 30th. The apartments will be 100% done and waiting for them, and we're actually already working with a tenant for 50% of that first floor.
Wow, that's
I'm
excellent.
excited about it.
That's really, really exciting. Just a quick question on the architecturals, because I can't see through these plastic layers and then that far. The overhang, the roof line, it does overhang the building, right? So then you sort of have an eave.
Yes, it does.
So
It's
it
over by
extends,
a
yeah.
foot, exactly.
Yeah, oh, thank God.
And then what we did.
I think it just adds a nice depth, a feeling to the building. I've seen so many now where the roof just actually stops
Yeah,
at
no.
the wall, and I just, it's like nails.
So we worked very well with your architectural review, Brian Humes. He did a great job to break this building almost mirror like the other one, so it'll fit right in with the
Yeah.
entrance. What we want to try and do is make this extra prominent when you drive in.
Yeah. All right, is there anyone else who wants to address the commission? Yes, I know that you're anxious to meet with us, Mr. Edge.
Christopher Edge, 240 Kensington Road, Berlin. Yeah, it's a P and Z meeting and me not talking to you, I don't. That's normal. It's very bizarre, isn't it? Last time you got me 5 times. So I'm excited about this. 1, the project. 2, explain a little bit kind of what's happened behind the scenes. Medical office right now, conceptually was a great idea to begin with. The larger players right now in Hartford County, Hartford Healthcare and others are focused downstate. Central Connecticut is not an area they're looking at. The second piece is if it was not going to be medical office space, it would be very challenging from the standpoint that second floor space in Berlin right now, even with elevator, it's very, very tough to lease. The second floor spaces we have are very tough to do anything with. From a value perspective, almost have to give them away. And this is exciting for the fact that it's a smaller size overall, but I think when you look at the spaces, the common spaces, the elevator, stairs, we're getting a better product, I think. We're going to have more space on the ground floor, more opportunities. It is going to be subdividable, where before it really was a single tenant building. It might have been different medical offices, but a single use. I would look to, again, the owner's willingness, maybe we can get some more food in this building, where if it was medical office, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
The last piece is I'm very excited that they're going to have 2 buildings that work very well together with the second floor. I think, yes, having a 3 and a 1 would be kind of strange. I think, again, affordability would be great, but I know with the interest and the excitement, that's what's been happening. It's wonderful. I think this really shows how well this board and the developer work so well together the entire process to find a product that we can be proud of, and then starting to really change the face of Farmington Avenue. And I'm just fully in support and love what they're doing.
All right, thank you. All right, so Maureen, do we have more work to do on this? Or is it, are you
Only
good
if
with
the
your?
commission has additional information, if they'd like to see the additional comments. Commission, or any comments or questions?
Okay. All right, pretty good. Hang on, I gotta look.
Yeah, it was scheduled with a public hearing.
Oh, looks like they want Steve too.
Oh, yes.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Steve Biella?
Don't know, I hope you lost him.
No, he was up there for a
I
while.
think he was there.
I'll still have a quorum now, right? Yeah, I was gonna say that was my own worry. Yeah. Where's the quorum? Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, I'm on online. And this is just basically, yeah. Public hearing, go ahead.
Yeah, so did you ask for public comment?
Yeah. I thought that I did. Anyone who wants to address this, yeah, because Chris Edge.
Oh,
yeah, wait.
I'm back on.
Okay, so that's that. Welcome back. Thank you. Welcome. All right.
He's back.
All right.
I'm
thank you.
sorry, I'm back. My computer died.
No, that's okay. All right, so,
Okay, so I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
okay, we're making a motion to close that public hearing. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, thank you, Cindy. I'm Mr. Paul. Further discussion and all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So moved. All right, turning the page. We're gonna get there. Proposed amendment to the zoning regulations, Attorney Dennis Cianavia, on behalf of Red Lease LLC. This is 6H3, which is a special permit used for self-storage facilities. And actually, this is going to be postponed. We have a request for the applicant postponing until May 19th. Do we need a motion on that, or I just sort of note it?
No, you can just note it.
All right.
It was publicized for this meeting, as was the next one.
Okay.
And we, due to the size of the agenda, we worked with the applicant for plenty of time before the meeting.
Okay.
The hearing needs to be open to postpone both these
All right, so that was,
applications, so they're noted on the agenda as such, so that they.
all right, so
Public record.
we're both postponed, and that includes the subdivision application for Paul Pryor Jr. Okay, on the Heritage Drive. All right, so those both are postponed. Going back to the old business, now we're gonna circle around and see if we can wrap this all up. All right, item A, special permit site plan application for the preserve, SMLLC, for the 76 units in the 48 buildings and 28 single-family units in lot 151 Grand Acres Lane. Okay, so here we go. I mean, we've done a lot of work on this. We've been looking at it for a long time. The applicant's been patient with us and given us all the extensions. Do we have any questions about this site plan application? Or what's the feedback of the commission?
I don't know if Brian or Steve have any comments, otherwise I'll make a motion.
Yeah, Brian, Steve, do you have any comments regarding the preserve on Grand Acres? Do you
I
have any
like it.
feedback?
We're good.
You're good, Steve. How about you, Brian?
I have no comments at this point.
Okay, no comments. Okay, so. Okay, yep.
I will make a motion to approve the application for the special permit for the preserve, subject to staff comments, and also with the stipulation that the open space be conveyed, that the commission accepts the architectural style that's been presented to us in the application, that the recreation opportunities that are presented are suitable for the application or for the permit, and that the phasing plan is approved.
Can I just say the conveyance to, as presented with conveyance to the land trust and the town open space and the easement certificate. Making sure that.
Yeah, that.
To the land trust.
All the staff's concerns.
Yes, yes.
And any additional staff's concerns, we're in agreement with that, right? Attorney Sullivan?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, so we have the motion, do we? Thank you, Dustin. I will second by Sandy. All right, Capola, further discussion, and all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. All right, item B, special permit plan, site plan application of Shuttle Meadow Development LLC for the multifamily development. Oh,
That was a motion for site plan and special permit, right? We need separate motions for both.
Oh, I did say special permit.
special permit site plan application.
The commission generally has been making a singular motion in my experience with the commission.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
that they're
the
both
intent
approved.
was for the complete application.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, you're still the record, yes, all right. Okay, so then moving on to the special permit plan, site plan plan application of Shuttle Meadow Development LLC for multifamily development at 309 Main Street, East Berlin. Okay. And what was this one's continued, thank you, keep me straight on that one because I'm buried by notes. All right, special permit, New City special permit application, unified site plan for Sebastian Ospini, the properties at 202 Mill Street. This is also continued, thank you. And then we're moving along, proposed text amendments for Robert Rossi to add automotive appearances, and this is also continued. Thank God. Application, application Newport Realty Group LLC for modification to a portion of the approved mixed-use development, unified site plan and special permit for development of Building A, 10 Steel Boulevard. And what do we have on this?
This was closed.
This was closed. Yeah, this one was closed. So I think Newport Realty is doing a good job in trying to stay with the theme of what you guys had originally proposed for the town. I understand the need to look at redesigning that building. And I also understand that you're doing your best to make it attractive and different, so we don't have these blocks. And for that, I really appreciate what you've done and are doing with your new proposal. And what do we call it? I guess 10 Steel, right? No, first grade. But I'm good to go. As far as, I'm concerned, I don't think there's any other problems, or the only other issue would be the affordability if we wanted to, but of course, we're working with developers and we're talking about putting it in the other back buildings, which I completely understand. And so that's a good thing. All right. Any other questions or comments by the commission?
Commissioner Rogan, so
Yeah.
I understand what Newport is trying to do. I think it was a very good project. Where I am on the edge was that as it was originally presented, I found that building to be the crowning jewel of the whole project. I think it really brought it into perspective for the town. I mean, there's a lot of residential in all the other buildings, and I thought this was the one building that really kind of eased it into the community by just being a commercial building on the Farmington Avenue. So I am having trouble with this site plan amendment.
Okay. All right, and Steve Biella, well, I guess I'll ask you if you have any comments regarding the adjustment to site plan.
Well, I'm good. I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, so you're good. Sandy?
I can understand the original plan and intent from a couple of years ago as to, I think it would have been great to have a lot of medical offices in there and access for that. But over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of changes with that. I work with a lot of physician practices, large groups, small groups, and a lot of them are either reducing office space, a lot of them are moving a lot of things to telehealth. So I certainly understand that the need for the medical space is kind of shrinking as far as the smaller practices, independent practices go. And I appreciate the fact that when they did redesign it, they're still keeping the Farmington Avenue side with that same type of look and feel to it. I think, in light of what's really going on in the economy and with that type of medical business, I think that they've kind of done a great job in still being able to fill the buildings and not, hurt them financially by not being able to rent space out. I thought they did a good job with it.
And hopefully new businesses will be attracted to new buildings, and then you can build out from there. But Diane, how do you?
Well, I would be we would be remiss not to take advantage of the one affordable unit in building. So we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't ask for that. So I agree, though, I understand COVID has changed everything. And the way that people do business or choose to do business and conduct their daily lives. And I can understand completely why it would cause a change to the project. With that, I will make a motion to approve your proposal, subject to any staff comments. And with the condition that we have the one affordable unit in building D stipulated, and that's my motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And further discussion, Commission? And all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed?
Nay.
And Steve Biella? Steve, waiting for your vote, please.
You hear me? Hear me? There we go. You got me now?
We can hear you now. We
Nay.
can hear you now. Can I have it? We have a motion, we had a second, so I'm just waiting on your vote.
Nay.
Okay, so you're opposed.
Correct.
So 3-2. And it should be as simple, correct? Simple?
Simple majority of the.
Yeah, it's a simple majority. Okay, so the ayes have it. You could do it. All right. Yes, you too. All right, okay. Sure will. From a distance.
Good evening.
Yeah, I know. Oh, remember this. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Hey, I got them out before 9 o'clock. Jeez, we're burning my shoes. Okay. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so next up is the proposed amendment to the zoning regulations for Attorney Dennis Sanavia on behalf of the Red Police special permit uses, and that's been continued.
Those last two.
All right, and those are gone? All right, so the last two, good, all right. So that's it,
Good night and happy Mother's Day to the moms.
yes, and happy Aunts Days for those.
Yes, of course,
Yes.
the Aunt's
And
Day.
Sister's Day. Or Lady Day.
Enjoy the beautiful Sunday.
We will.
I'm an animal mom, does that count?
It does.
Absolutely. Actually, your job is probably harder than most parents' jobs, considering the number of animals.
Good point.
I mean, the dog literally probably eats more than most children.
Yes.
And you know what? It would make a really nice snuggler to it.
Yeah, I know, this one's a real cutie, Rooster's.
Good night, good night.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Rooster. Good night.
Before we lose anyone, I want to remind the members that there's an executive. session.
Okay, Brian and Steve, I need you to stay on for executive session, or do they have to call back in?
Well, you have to vote to go into executive
Yeah.
session, read the column, but.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move to executive session. And I'm going to invite the commission along with Maureen Juicy, the town planner, and also Jennifer Capola, who is our representative. And this is to discuss the status of the pending litigation at Rio Vista Associates LLC versus Berlin Planning and Zoning Commission and the town of Berlin, and possible action related to the same. And also item 2 would be consider whether to reconvene in executive session to discuss pending litigation. All right, so.
Joe, Commissioner Rogan,
Yes,
if you could just do me a favor, could you text me that information for the new login before we log off?
okay, hold on, and I'm gonna see how many.
So I just, I should have just gotten it from Jennifer, and I will send it to you. Can I forward it to your email or do you need it?
The email will be fine. And I'll make sure Steve gets it as well.
Yeah, I'll send it to both of you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. See you in a few.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. I figure this out. Yeah. Gotta leave.
I'm sorry, did we not, have you made the motion to go into executive session yet or not? I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion to go into, I'll make the motion to go into executive session with staff and Attorney Capola.
Okay, so the motion's made by Mr. Rogan, and who has the second?
I'll second.
Second, okay, great, and just for the record, it's 8:55 PM. All right.
And we are, this is Attorney Capola. Good evening. We are going to be adjourning out of executive session. So it is fine to leave this meeting. There has been a separate meeting set up. Maureen does have that link, and I did email it to Brian and to Steve to your Berlin email accounts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Maureen, you could leave and then log into the new meeting. I'll start the new meeting now. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.